Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's chat, both sides of the conversation. I'm your co-host, Rico Hamilton.
And I'm John Henry, co-founder of Both Sides of Conversation.
We got an amazing topic for y'all today. But before we get into the topic, John, can you verbalize our group agreement so folks that's coming on, they might have couldn't read that, but let's let them hear that.
Yes. We definitely want to go over our community standards as the group is steady evolving and growing. We want to make sure that everybody understand our community standards on the webinars as well as in our groups. There's a lot of conversations happening in the group. This past week was fun, amazing conversation, a lot of dialogue, but we still want to keep the community standards of being respectful of each other and people differences. So with that being said, I'm gonna jump into it. Here at Both Sides of Conversation, we are providing a safe and honest space for open conversation. Please be respectful of that. Please be respectful of the panelists, the hosts, and any participants in our live webinars as well as in our group. Please don't personalize anything with anyone. No name calling, no bullying, no trolling or shaming. That won't be allowed here. Your prescription and your perspective is your prescription. I'm having trouble today. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You don't have to agree, but you must show respect. What we are doing here is we're trying to create an open forum for dialogue, healing, and education. So with that being said, please share this video today. We're live on Facebook. Start a watch party, share so as many people can get involved. We want our fathers from the community to be involved with this conversation, as well as our ladies in the community. So you could jump on the Zoom link if you want to ask questions, if you want to be a part of the conversation, you want to ask some of the dads. Some of our dads are still trying to log in. We had a little Zoom hiccup. So you guys, please understand a couple of them are going to be jumping in here shortly. A couple people running late. So just understand that some people jump in, but we go ahead and get this conversation going. I think this is an important conversation. We're talking about the Black and brown dad experience. We're talking about the single dads. We're talking about the dads that's co-parenting. We're talking about the dads that's married. Just kind of talking about their experiences of being a father, raising a father, being stepfathers sometimes, the good, the trials, the tribulations. We're having an open conversation. I know a lot of ladies was waiting for this conversation. They think it's important. I think you're going to be able to get a bunch of different perspectives. From different people. And then we have some amazing fathers that should be coming on and have some amazing stories that we have to get in. So again, we're going to have our question and answer open here in the Zoom link. If you have a question, you want to present to one of the fathers or you want to ask something, go ahead and do that. If you would like to jump in, maybe you a father, maybe you had an experience that you want to talk about being a single father or a married father or a co-parenting father, and you want to jump on and say something, today is that time. Please just raise your hand. We'll pull you up. We'll get you on the live and you can share your experience. And again, this is not a bashing party. We're not here trying to bash women. And we just want to talk about some of the experiences and some of the challenges that we've went through, right? And then how do we engage the community to help these fathers in these experiences? Because as fathers, we know sometimes the benefits that women get from our city officials, from nonprofits and different organizations are there for the women. But when it comes to fathers raising their kids, some of those same benefits and things are not there. So it's going to be a good conversation. It should be powerful. We got 2 hours. I know we got some brothers coming on late. If it go over a little bit today, it's fine. This is for our dads. This is what this is about, having conversation. Hopefully we can make this a conversation that's also educational, right? And we could get some kind of healing, and some of the ladies in our community could kind of understand the things that fathers go through and then some of our challenges and our struggles. So with that being said, I'm gonna turn it over to Rico and then we go jump into this conversation. Again, raise your hand if you want to come up here. If you're a father, maybe you didn't hear about this and now you just heard about it and you want to jump in the conversation, come on. And our ladies out there, I'm sure they're going to have questions too. So let's go ahead and jump into this, Rico.
Oh, most definitely. So a lot of the conversations leading up to this conversation has really been around um, deadbeat fathers. And I'm only saying, this is not me saying this. This is what community, in general, a lot of the conversations is about deadbeat fathers. How do we engage fathers and mothers who do have disputes and, getting them to better understand, it's not about y'all no more. We know y'all fell out, y'all had y'all little issue, but now it's about the babies and how do we get them to move forward. So I guess we can start there. I guess we can start with, you know, because I think we should build up. So, you know, the beginning process is always conception, and then, you know, the baby's here. Everything's gravy until a certain point. I don't know that point. I've been married for 16 years and I got 4 babies with my beautiful wife. But, you know, when it get to that point, how, I guess the question is and I don't know if any of the panelists have ever experienced this. When it get to that ugly part, when the relationship part of it isn't working, like how do you get past the part of you and her and make it about just the baby, when sometimes, and this is a question that someone asked me, the system feel like it's 100% against the man. And that's what I'm hearing from single fathers who I mentor and trying to get them back connected with their babies. They think the system is 100% against them. I don't know the system. So it's kind of hard for me to just, you know, take that and say, okay, that's what it really is. I don't know. But is anyone on the panel right now? We have amazing brothers who been doing amazing stuff. We got Nate Ford. He's like the father to the whole entire community. You know, he all of our father in some capacity as a mentor. He has supported us all. We also got James Caldwell from the mayor's office who does amazing stuff. He's a mentor to a lot of young folks. And then we got Dirk who's doing amazing stuff also. We mentor his son. So, you know, I know it's multiple levels on the call. So, you know, I guess that's the first question is once, you know, things get bad in the relationship part of it, is the system really set up for men to fail as fathers?
I'll jump in.
Go ahead, Jay.
Um, I was a teen father, so I was first shot out, became a father. Lost my virginity at 16 years old, and became a father. And you know, I didn't know about being a dad. You know what I'm saying? You know, I had my grandfather and my father, but I went off to college. You know, so the mother of my child, we were together, but then we kind of broke up. You know, she was a little angry because I continued my school, went off to college, played ball. But when I came home, I immediately, you know, I was in my child's life while I was in college. But when I came home, I got a job and I really started doing what I was supposed to do. And I went back and tried to, you know, rekindle the relationship with her, you know, and just to be clear, I have children. I have 3 children, and they're all in different decades. I got a 90s baby, a 2000s baby, and I got a 10-month-old over here running me crazy right now, man. So I'm gonna be a father till I take my last breath. You know what I'm saying? So, but with my first child, my oldest daughter, you know, the mom, I tried to come back and, you know, I tried to rekindle a relationship or whatever, and the mom, she didn't want that because she was kind of like, you know, running the streets. She was doing her thing, you know what I'm saying? And she was messing with this dude, that dude, and, you know, she like hood niggas. I was like, okay, that's cool. But it got to the point where, you know, my daughter, I was picking her up from school. She was with me after school. She was spending the night. I mean, we was everything, all her field trips, everything. I was that dad that did everything. And when the mom finally got with a good, or got a man, and I guess she decided to get married, the dude didn't have no job. He had no job, so she like, okay, I need some extra income. I got an old mouth to feed. Next thing you know, I get served some child support papers. My daughter, 15 years old. I'm like, what is this? She was like, well, I figured, you know what I'm saying? I said, well, you could have came to me and we could have sat down and talked as adults. But there was also some resentment of the fact that I was doing okay, and she felt like I should have been struggling. So, you know, she tried to hit me up for about $700-800 at the time, you know, about close to about $1,200 a month. And, you know, I went down there, I showed them every receipt. I bought all school clothes, everything extra. And then, you know, I tried to talk to her. She said, no, you're going to give me this. This is what I want. And when we got down to the point of going to court, they took the receipts, they took the child care, everything, the time I spent, and they kept it where it was. I was giving her 250, you know what I'm saying, a paycheck. So about 500 a month. And I was just doing it out of the, you know, because that was my daughter. So they said, well, we're actually going to lower it. You're giving her too much. They ended up giving her like $275. And I still did the extra stuff after because, you know, it was my daughter. But the fact that she got angry with me and she felt like it was my fault because the court sided with me. But at the same time, it also put them in my business. And I used to always think like, having child support in my business was good. I didn't want that, right? But it actually worked out in my favor. Now, my second daughter, I was married. I didn't want to have no more kids until I got married. So I got married, had another daughter. Relationship didn't work out. We was married for 10 years. We separated. To this day, my ex-wife still has feelings, and she's tainted my daughter's mind. And I've been same thing. School, bring lunch at lunchtime, go to all the field trips, support whatever you want to do. And the mom was more about me and her. So I'm like, okay, well, the daughter lived with me for a minute. And then I'm like, okay, I was still giving her child support. I said, why am I giving you child support? She's living with me. She took the daughter back, put the daughter with the grandparents. My daughter feel like me and her mother is the reason why her grandparents took her. I said, no, you were living with me and your mom took you from me. And it's like, but I've been painted this bad picture. So when we went to court, the mom sent text messages to the daughter, like, stay over there with your daddy, don't come back to my house. I printed all that out. And this time the court sided with the mother. So she ended up telling my daughter she didn't have to come to my house, she didn't have to spend no time with me, and then draw the wedge. So even though me and my daughter still have kind of like a close relationship, but it's not as strong as it could be. And I found out one of the things that was bad for me was defending myself. I had to learn somebody else needs to tell your narrative about what happened without you defending yourself, because it makes it seem like you're trying to bash the other parent. And that's not what I was trying to do. I was trying to explain to her that I tried, but your mother was limiting my role as a father. So yeah, on that part, and this is when I was working at SVIP or CRN SVIP, I was getting hit for $2,100 a month for one kid, plus medical. How was I supposed to survive on that? Luckily, I had a good partner that was able to support, and the mother got that way because I had bought a house with my partner. I had, I was doing okay. I bought a new car, but this was all the blessings, to me, that was the blessings of God. And this is the opportunities I was able to have in order to do that because of the work I was doing. You do good things come back. But, I do think the system on that end, I had a lady, white judge. I even got a lady lawyer, black lawyer that fought for me. And she told the judge, said, this is ridiculous, like $2,100 a month. And then she said, well, the daughter's able to decide if she wants to spend time with him. She said she don't, so that's zero time. I said, but I've been spending time with her. She's still coming to my house. She said, well, you have no proof of that. I said, I do have proof of that. They didn't accept it. So then they had to give me some time. They gave me 15%. So basically that looked at that. And then the mom was working. So the mom could get the child support, the mom stopped working. But then on top of that, the mom was on Section 8. And I told them that. I said, she on Section 8. I'm like, she been on Section 8 and she married. They didn't investigate that either. So, yeah, I do think that, my experience has been bad. So now I made sure that I cross my T's and dot my I's, man, on everything. But, it still didn't make me a bad father. It didn't make me a bitter person. And, me and her mom went back and forth, and it did damage my daughter some because me trying to go back and forth with the mother, I didn't pay attention to what my daughter was going through. And now my daughter's 20 years old, and she feels like I let her down. And I'm like, I tried everything I possibly could, but when you say things like that, they going off of what the mother said, and her mind is, when I say poison, it's poison. And Rico, you've met my daughter. You know what I'm saying? She love her dad, but when that poison is in there somewhere down the line, and you constantly around this person that's constantly feeding you negative stuff, it's gonna come out. So, yeah, I do think that system is bad.
Definitely. You made a good point, but I want to jump into Nate, but I want to go back because I want to dig deeper into that experience of being a single father versus being a married father. I think that's
okay.
And Rico's married, and Nate, like, we'll put this together. And I know child support is one of the issues that our fathers deal with. And I definitely want to hang into some of the services, because there are a lot of single fathers who can't get Section 8, can't get housing for their kids, can't get food stamps or help like some of the other women get. So we want to go there too. But Nate, I want to bring up Nate because I know Nate have a lot of perspectives, and then I want to tie this in into some other stuff as the other people start coming in. But go ahead, Nate.
I mean, I want to add on that, that I agree with James. It's I've been through similar paths, but as me, as I was, I've been on the road a lot since 1992. So it was hard for me to be, they're sharing their dad with countless other kids in the community. And that was one hurdle that they went all my kids went all around the world with me on but it's not almost sometimes it's not the same as yeah, we go to different states and different cities, but sometimes it's not the same as being on that one-on-one stuff. I tried different approaches, try to be the person that you know never talked about the mom or anything in front of the kids, and kind of try to paint you know a picture that everything was going to be all right. But you know, it's um, it's a the system is kind of again, I will just touch on this one more time. It's I really think it's kind of biased towards men. You get your license taken away. I've never heard of a mom getting their license taken away, or what I'm saying, or maybe it is. I'm not saying it's not, but just things like that. And it's kind of those penalties and stuff will rack up on some people. I've got a lot of young kids that come to me a lot, and their penalties are so high and stuff now is just ridiculous. And that gets to the point is why should I get a job if they're going to take you know almost all my check? I'm working for nothing. So that's the narrative that it paints sometime in the streets for some of these brothers. For me personally, like I said, I had the benefit. I've never saying it was never peachy, and we've had some ups and downs, but I've been kind of fortunate to just keep that presence and be there and do what I can and work through the struggles. Luckily, we've all the children's mom, we've grown up and be kind of cordial at least, and that's all I ask for. And as you move forward in life, um, but I've often get youngsters that come through my way and trying to navigate through the system, kind to better themselves and see that how could they come current with child support payments and things like that. It's an uphill battle, and sometimes they throw so many hurdles at you. It could be 10 hurdles, and brothers, youngsters, they'll go through like 4 or 5 and man be falling off. Then they not going through 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's just too much for them. And if that can ever be streamlined from, I'm not saying there are 10 different hurdles, but if that could be streamlined to like one, maybe 2 visits, to take care of things, and maybe it could be a lot better. I know my first child had that one thing. George Smith at Ellie Hill Hutch had helped me out, and I was behind, and George helped me out real good, and I went down and took care of that. But luckily I haven't had a payment since I had to make. But um, the key is getting ahead of it, and because those are arrears, that's what they're called. Those arrears stack up on it, and it's against our kid, our community, struggling with those arrears to this date. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've heard of people coming and making settlements. I think the mom have to go down and make a settlement or whatever, however that goes. But for the most part, man, it is detrimental to some of these youngsters in trying to take care of kids and arrears and their bills. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I can say that once you get in those arrears, man, it's hard to come up out of it. I mean, I've helped a lot of kids try to come up out of that, but the steps are just so many. You got to be consistent with it. So yeah, it's a daunting task, and I think it's definitely the system is it's set against us brothers, man. And they sometimes they believe the parents, and you got to take it with a grain of salt though, because what they want you to do is lose your cool and don't get mad. And I've seen it. I walked, was that on McAllister, walking up board, they had to get security and sheriffs and everything up on them floors sometime. And it's just an emotion that it because some brothers do really try, man. And like James said, there are some emotional things that involve, whether it's be jealousy or that you've moved on, or you jealous she moved on. I'm not always putting it on the women. It could be vice versa. So there's always that part that comes into play, and then it just gets it gets emotional, and cool heads get lost, and then you got a bigger problem. So it's an uphill battle. I'm looking forward to hearing this conversation though.
Yeah, I mean, I want to jump in there like a little bit. I mean, I was a single dad, and I didn't get hit up with all of the rears that some people dealt with because I had a different philosophy. But definitely, when I was younger, coming into raising my daughter, it was a lot of challenges, and trying to go through the system, like you said, to navigate through that process, Nate, it is definitely a challenge, right? And I'm always trying to help understand how do we better set these policies up, right? Because it's two spectrums on this, right? So you have the dad who's trying to do stuff, trying to help out, be involved financially, and he gets screwed with his time by the parents, right? Then you have the part of the dads who don't have the financial capabilities, but they want to spend time with the kids, but can't. And I think that's when sometimes women choose to weaponize the kids against men. And I think that's one of the big things. So my thing is always, yes, time and money is allocated to the growth of our children. But like James was saying, why do we have to get into this percentage of custody time for financial numbers, right? How do we as a system advocate as men to make changes to say, hey, we're not going to get into the custody part because sometimes that could be a challenge. But let's figure out a number as both parents. We brought this kid in here together. We go off our income and we pay a certain amounts together, no matter what at a time, right? Because sometimes, like you said, we got these situations, not all of them, but some situations where the dad don't even want to be involved with the kids. So you can't force that on them, right? So you know what I mean? So how do we deal with that? Right. But I think when it comes to the financial part, it should be both parties. And I understand the suck part about the rear thing is because there is dads who want to pay their child support and be involved in their kid's life, but then life happens. You get laid off or you go through this financial struggle for a period, right? But the rears are still happening. Are they basing it off that salary? How do you fix it to where, again, when things happen with women on Section 8, they lose their job. They don't increase the rent on the women. You know what I'm saying? Section 8 adjusts the rent or the mortgage payment or whatever to that person's wages. So how do we get into some type of system like that when it comes to child support? Because maybe a dude is off work for a year, right? When he was working, he was making good money. He was able to pay the $2,000 or $1,000 a month, but now he's not working. He can't. So where is that, adjustment? And they say it's some there, but it hits them up in the rear. And for all of the dads before who walked away, of course, you brothers on here stood up, been there for the kids, but we understand sometimes these policies are driven by the majority, right? So there is a large number of dudes who not taking care of their financial responsibility or the time responsibility, right? So that also impacts it. But again, how do we make the system fair? So attaching the driver's license for a lot of states was a way to get men to get involved financially for jobs, because here in California, you can't get a job if you don't have a driver's license. Most states is like that now. So I get the tangibles that's attached, but this is both sides of the conversation. When it's the flip side and you the single father, the women don't get the same treatment. So the stigma is when you a man, it's a tack. But when it comes to the man, like I didn't go to child support for my daughter when I had custody. Now in the beginning, when we were splitting custody, it was like, hey, I'm gonna pay my share, I'm gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? But then when it was like, hey, it's you, I got all the responsibility. I didn't go down there saying, hey, I'm putting her on child support. I'm about to do this. I just took the responsibility as a role. And sometimes women will say, well, that's what man's supposed to do. But again, raising a kid is a two-parent thing. Why is it that when the single dads or the dads that's married or the co-parenting dad that takes the responsibility, why is it that way? Like the women just get off the hook. We don't press it with them because as men, a lot of time it's ego, right? We like, man, I'm about to just do what I got to do. But how do we make this a fair, accountable thing for both parties that's reasonable? Because James had a good point and Nate said it too. You know, a lot of time when these relationships separate, it's a lot of personal stuff, right? And we want to be able to do the impact of having the success of our kids. And I'm gonna end with that and let you guys jump in on that. But when Rico speak and James speak about the marriage part, I want to get that part of the conversation too, you know, because there is a stigma that single dads can't produce great kids doing amazing things. And then there's the stigma saying that, you know, having two parents in a household is the best thing for kids. And I'm gonna be honest, in my own family and people I know people who have both parents, mom and dad, live in the house, married, happy, raising kids, and the kids turn out to be something different. So I want to talk about that stigma as well. Is it carte blanche and it's just, hey, you married and you in the house with your kids and everything is great, or you know, what does that look like? Go ahead, Reed.
Well, you know, I think there's a lot that come with that. You know, I think that, you know, having dual parents in the household is, you know, is an amazing thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the child is going to come out more successful than another. I mean, numbers do show that, you know, there is higher percentages of, you know, children who do become something, but it's not guaranteed. So it like a single parent versus a dual parent, we still got to always remember it takes a whole village, right? So like no matter what, I can be a parent with, you know, me and my wife, we doing it. But if I ain't got John, if I ain't got Nate, if I ain't got James, if I ain't got Dirk to support me with my sons, who knows what they can turn out to be? You know what I'm saying? So like that's why I believe in the whole concept of it takes a whole village to raise a child. Like I come up from the old school where if I got in trouble, literally I got like 3 butt whoopings before I even got to the house, you know, and people could tell my mom, oh, he acting out or whatever, and she wouldn't, you know, she'll turn to me and say, oh, is that true? And I was so scared to lie that, you know, I always told the truth to her. So I think like if we can get back to that mindset as it relates to parenting, I think that like that'll really help a lot of parents out. Like, you know, but we've steered away from the belief systems of our ancestors, and we taking the village out. You know, you'd say something to somebody, baby, they damn near ready to hurt you about they baby being wrong or they baby doing something that's totally out of pocket. And now you got a whole issue that you got to deal with because you're trying to help somebody's child. So, you know, it's so many different layers to it, you know, and I've seen single moms raise some amazing boys, you know what I mean? And then vice versa, some amazing dads like yourself, John, raising amazing daughters. So, you know, it is what we surround them with and how we're surrounding them with individuals who gonna hold them accountable no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like John, my eldest son, he don't talk to me like how he talked to you. And that's just reality. You know what I mean? Do I feel some type of way? No. I'm happy he got somebody that he can open up to and have the conversation with if he's not gonna have it with me. You know what I mean? And then you double back with me. Now it's like, okay, that's that village concept. But this other stuff that we got going on is not the village. That's why our children end up in situations that they're in, because you got one parent or both parents who are, I don't even want to say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
You gotta say it. Today is the day. We gotta say it. The women has to hear it. This is about the Black dad experience. This is what we go through, what we feel. We're not saying it's right, but we gotta talk about this because we gotta heal with our women. Because I'm also tired of that, Rico, and I'm tired of these women who keep their kids away from the men purposely. There's a lot that do it. And then when the kid turned 13, 14 off the hook, yeah, go stay with your daddy and deal with it. But you didn't want me involved the whole time. So that's
yeah,
a big
man, you guys just bringing up so many points in the work I do every day. And, you know, I do want to say there are some amazing moms that really, you know, that really grind and really, you know, they really make it happen and do what they do. And because I can definitely say, and you know, and I've some of these kids that come to my program start at 6 years old, leave at 17, 18, and some of them you may see, and over those 10 years, you see them dad 5 times at a game. We done played over 1,000 games since that span, and you know, it definitely warms my heart when I see a dad get to a game or come to a game, and whether it's, you know, once every year to once every week, it's definitely a plus. So it definitely goes both ways, and Rico definitely hit some points there. I never let a kid or the parent, because sometimes that's what a mom do when they protective. Oh, he ain't got his dad no more. He ain't got a male figure around. No, that's because you're not letting him be checked by other people that's in the community. And Rico is right. I grew up in Freedom West, where I used to get it from Maine mama, Wally's mama. You know what I'm saying? We used to G-Man mama used to live next door. I mean, but we used to get it, and that's what everything used to keep it all tight. And I guess that's how we grew up to have so much of, you know, the thick skin. But there are some of those parents that kind of like, you know, and this is my favorite line that I you know, well, I don't mess with Nate no more because they play favorites over there. Oh, they don't like my son or this or that. I mean, come on, man. Just because we told you about your son, now all of a sudden we don't like your son. Because I'm gonna tell you something, if I didn't like your son, and then I wouldn't say nothing. I'll let him go and do what he gonna do. You know what I'm saying? But Rico with it, and this conversation can go to 6 o'clock tonight. I'm excited, man. This is really getting exciting.
Nah, and I think that's dope. And you know, and again, like I said, this conversation is not to put down the women. We do have amazing women in our community doing amazing things for our kids. I'm gonna let James jump in there because it looked like James want to say something. But
I was just gonna say, man, in light of like my oldest daughter, mother did an amazing job, man, because she didn't have no support. She had support from her family, but she didn't really have no support from her family. She did an amazing job. My daughter turned out, and you know, me being in her life and her mother being in her life, and then she just did a great job. Like, you know what I'm saying? I always tell her that. Even my ex-wife, I tell her, I'm like, you know, so I may be kind of fudging in line a little bit. Like, you know, you did a good job. You know what I'm saying? But the part that you putting your personal feelings out about me to her, that's wrong. But I think you need to do, or it needs to be a reevaluation of the systematic system for child support, even like with the parenting classes, even like how they got that structured with taking licenses and all that type of stuff. I mean, they doing all this reform, right? They should have been done some reform on that. You got to think about Section 8 project, Section 8 project. That was a project, it was to see whatever. But when they offer that Section 8 voucher, right? This is some of the things they tell the women. You can't have a male staying with you, so the father can't live there. You know what I'm saying? Even if they're her and the father is cool, that draws a wedge right there. You know what I'm saying? And then you tell them that you can't make this a certain amount of, you don't got it, we're gonna take care of you. This is that. You know what I'm saying? But once you sign that voucher, they tell you they would. I know for a fact that they did that to my sister, and she was like, they told me I had to put my baby daddy on child support because they giving me some type of aid. I was like, what? So it became a problem with him. It made a problem out of them. He was like, wait, we together though. And you know, they offered the family Section 8, but with the family Section 8, you might as well have market rate rent, man. I mean, you still paying the same amount. But the other part of it is, man, it's like, you know, there are some amazing women out that go to the like they said, they go to the basketball games and stuff like that. But you have a society now, you can't say nothing to these kids. Like, I used to have parents come down when I worked at the Boys and Girls. It's like, excuse my language, like beat his ass. I was like, I'm not gonna whip you. No, beat his ass. If you do something online, beat his ass, and then call me, and I'm gonna beat his ass when you get home. I said, okay, no problem, right? But a lot of these dudes that's coming out of like Lakeview, Sunnydale, because I grew up in Lakeview, but I got family all through the city, and I was working in Sunnydale. But a lot of them dudes that's out here that I know they kind of got bodies on them still respect me to the point where they see me. Hey Jay, man, what's up? And they watch how they talk, you know what I'm saying? And they address me. They don't address me like, what's up, nigga? They address me like by my name, because I address them by their name. You know, but they got the good in them, but it's just about how do you fix the brokenness, right? And I'm not talking about brokenness with women, I'm talking about brokenness within us, period, as a culture. Because I grew up in that neighborhood too. I remember we playing football one time. We just give y'all a little story. I was playing football one time, and we got into a fight. And, you know, we got to talk about people's mamas and all that type of stuff. And I remember the neighbor came out, man, whooped me and my partner up, called both our parents. Then we get home, he got a whooping, I got a whooping. Then they called each other and we got a swap. They'll get whoopings by each other's parents. I said, what the hell is this? But that's what happened. You could be on the street, say a cuss word, man, get slapped up by somebody, and you couldn't look at them crazy, say nothing back, but we ain't there no more. You put your hands and say anything to somebody's kid, then they damn near telling the kid to take off on you. You know, and I remember, Rico, do you remember when we had to go to Mission High School when they was out there, them kids was dropping, they was playing a knockout game on Mission Street, and we went in there and I ended up knowing the kid's mom. I said, man, this your son on the video, the police is show. Man, she went bananas on dude. She said, when you see my son, hit him up. I was like, you know, I was like, I don't know if you want, there's too many laws now, you can't just do it, you know, but all that stems from coming back to how they structure things now. I mean, you put your hands on the kid now, man, the kid go run to my man, I got abused. You know, they encouraging the kids to tell you, has your mom and dad beat you? You can't ask questions like, they didn't ask questions like that back then. Yeah, I'm right. I got a whooping at Aptus.
Right.
Mr. Toomer.
You're
Mr.
right,
Toomer, bust my ass.
You're right. And there's some other layers to this too. And you could go on the flip side of, you know, not, you know, I've seen some of the kids who had the mama and daddy there, and now they in the tenderloin right now. So I see that aspect too. But then you get, like James said, there's so many different laws, and these kids are smart too. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
They'll, you know, I didn't see so many times a kid and called the police on their parent, but then when they wind up going to CPS or somewhere, oh no, and now you want to go back home. Oh no, you got the ball rolling now. Now you got them people in your business because you didn't want to go take out the garbage or you didn't want to get checked. And now these other people, now it's a process for you. Now you may not get back home for 30 days. You know what I'm saying? And things
but
like
then they try to take you out the house and put you in a group home. I worked in a group home, man. It'd be a whole bunch of kids in a group home and they'd be there for their own admission, calling the police on their parents. But the other part of it is, I'm gonna tell you that becomes another problem. And Nate, you can relate to this too, because we've done it, the Boys and Girls stuff, is when a kid give you more respect than the parent because they see the parent doing foul stuff, but then you the only person that's kind of giving them some direction. And then when the parent, like, he out of control. I remember we was at a funeral one time, man, and a friend of mine I went to high school with, she got in the car with her daughter. Her daughter was 16 years old. She's like, man, put 50 Cent on. She's like, roll the blunt. I was like, for real? She said, I'm like, my daughter, she gonna get it with you. I'd rather be with me than be with anybody else. So I'm like, okay, all right. 3 years later, come get this bitch. I'm about to kill her. I said, oh, so no, you said y'all was best friends. I said, you crossed the line. She didn't cross the line. You crossed the line with her, and she felt like when you went back over to the motherhood side, she can just cross the line with you. So y'all was buddies. It was never no line drawn. So then, you know, they respect the person on the street more than they respect their own parent. There's a lot of issues there. Then it ties back into financial, it ties back into job opportunities, it ties back into the system, period, is like, it's just broken. And then, you know, you got broken people, it just makes it even worse.
Right. I think, Rico, I think that you and Nate brought up a good thing. And I want to ask this question to the people out there too. Like, has the system and the rules, the laws with parenting has caused what we see today with all of the violence in our community, all of the, like, you know, like James brought up about the Section 8, you know, if you already have a woman who has an issue with a man, right? And then the system is telling this woman to get the man out of the house, get the man out of the picture, or you can't get support. I mean, has this thinking or these laws and these tangibles, have this really distorted our women in the community? We know it breaks up our family, but when you put laws and structures into place to purposely, intentionally keep the man out of the picture, like he said, if you get Section 8, you got to kick the man out. If you want welfare or assistance, you got to kick the man out. That's played a part in the relationship thing because, you know, if a woman already halfway don't like you, have a problem, and it's like, I need these benefits, I put you out. And then the effect, you know, comes back around later to hurt our children in the community. And I think we need our dads. You know, all you guys on here are good representing of the importance of, you know, being dads. And all of us on here play not only a role in our kids' life, the community life, Rico, Nate, everybody, we do stuff. And then, we'll jump into the stepfather role, right? Because one of the things when I grew up, my dad, when my mom and dad divorced, my dad remarried and had other kids, right? But and I want to know from you guys, from y'all parent experience, I didn't have that father to really raise me to understand everything. So when I see my dad with his wife and his other family and his other kids, and he was with them, I didn't understand all of the BS that was going on with my mom, right? So I had this internal issue with my dad, like, man, you out with these kids and you ain't messing with me. But I didn't understand. You know what I'm saying? The dynamics of when people break up and things happen. And you know what I'm saying? The kids is the ones that suffer because mom's is putting you against dad. Dad is like, look, man, it ain't really like that, but you will see. You know what I'm saying? I told Rico that one time. Like, that's the only thing for my dad. I really didn't understand why you just didn't be a man and just tell me and explain to me, like, when you break up, certain things happen. So it left me as a young man confused. I didn't know. All I'm saying is my mama like, you ain't going over there. You ain't dealing with them. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand why. So it turns this bitterness for our young people. And then we take it as our dad is not taking care of us, but he's married or he's in another relationship and he's with those kids and I get left out. You know what I'm saying? So I know I threw a lot out there on there, but Rico, I want you to kind of touch on that. And then we got Dirk. Dirk, when you ready to jump on, raise your hand or let us know and we'll pull you up, Dirk.
I'm trying to get in. You got my video off.
Rico, help him get his video on.
Okay.
Try it now. We're gonna make you co-host.
Yeah, no, so John, with just what you were saying, like, I think that the system, of course, play a role in it, but then there's also the multiple layers that we play. I think like we can sit here and try to hold the system accountable, but then there's layers where we got to hold ourselves accountable to some of the crap that we do, right? So, like, for example, my dad, he wasn't there at all. You know what I'm saying? He lived in San Francisco majority of my life, and I ended up running into him as an adult. You know what I'm saying? And, like, damn, that dude looked just like me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But by then I already felt the way that I felt. It was a certain type of hatred that I had. And it was a love-hate type thing that I had for him. But like at the end of the day, I realized, okay, luckily I had men to step up to the plate and play the father role, even though it was like subliminal and it wasn't intentional. Like, oh, I date your mom and, you're going to be my son. It was just more like mentorship saying, hey, look, let me teach you the right way, young homie. Let me teach you how to do this or do that and move forward in life. But I think like part of it is like when life show up or when things show up, how do we tackle it or how do we address it? You know what I'm saying? Like with my first son, some years ago, I was in my early 20s and my wife wasn't working. I was working at Circuit City. And, that's OG, Circuit City. So, she, applied for welfare off top. You know what I'm saying? And like, since I'm on the birth certificate, we together, you know what I'm saying? But like, they start taking money from me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, immediately, as soon as they took that first lump sum, I said, oh no, we are not finna get comfortable with this. This is not making sense. To me, the math didn't add up, and I'm like, we getting off this. I don't care what's going on. I will take care of my child with this little itty bitty money that I got, and we're gonna get up out of this. So we end up getting out of it, and we never utilized that system at all. But like some fathers, they like we're taught to despise the system no matter what. So soon as a woman, like even if the woman isn't saying that she's going to go get child support is gonna come anyway because she get aid, right? And then instead of like you taking care of it, you letting these rears and you letting this stuff just back on you. So now you look like a deadbeat because you ain't taking care of responsibility. You know what I'm saying? So like, and sometimes people don't know that, or they don't recognize that that's what it is. My thing and what I don't like is when I see people lead their children to go be with somebody else's children. And this is what I mean by that. They don't, like, the person they with, they don't have biological children by at all. But they children become their children. They calling that dude daddy, and this dude got children over here that he don't even go see. And his real children is his Instagram friend, Facebook friend, and they see all the stuff. So to me, like, that's more traumatic to me is You know what I mean? Because I know how that feel, John. I heard you say, you know how that feel, you know, to see our pops go to another home and be the best dad that they possibly can be while we sitting there getting 1,000 phone calls talking about they on their way. How many of us on this call then sat in the window waiting on pops to come? Every car looked like his car, and you fall asleep in the window, your mom come pick you up talking about, told you that brother ain't shit. You know what I mean? So like, you know what I mean? And it traumatizes you. You know what I'm saying?
Rico, is sometimes, again, because as kids, we don't know. It's the BS that we be having to deal with when we come deal with the woman. You get what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of, and I'm not making an excuse for it, but a lot of time is, I hear some of these women, Rico, I'm around some of these women, and I'll be having to check them like, hold on, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So this is why this conversation is important for our sisters to understand, because the damage that a woman could do to a kid early about your daddy ain't shit, you know, this and that, blah, 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 rat and raven. Like, if you be more cool and try to co-parent, see, women get so tied up into their emotions and I'm gonna prove you. I feel like sometimes some of these women want to see their kids go down because of the dude that they had the kid with. And I think that's sick, but I see it and it's real. But before Dirk go, a couple questions came in. Nisha had a pretty good question here. She said the way the system is set up, the woman has to be single and the father has to be absent to receive full benefits. So sometimes women will say that the man isn't present so that she can receive full benefits from the system, even though the man is present. And then when they break up, the man is stuck with repaying back welfare. So I think what she's saying, like Rico said, even if a man is in the kid's life, financially, he might not be able to financially do everything. So the sister depends on the benefits from the system. And like you said, child support just automatically get involved and they start hitting you for the rears because they like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Whether you was there or not, we gave this woman welfare, Section 8. I don't care if y'all's together or not, we want to get paid back. And that's how some people get introduced to the rears. But again, that's why it has to be, you know, it has to be another way to regulate the system to
No,
make
but John, the logic in the thought process and how people think, right? So, right, so they garnish your first check, right? So now you feel some type of way. I don't want no job. That's the dumbest stuff I've ever heard in my life.
Woo, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, and you don't want no job. Okay, you don't want a job. So now, in spite of her or whatever the issue is, you ain't got a job to take care of yourself. That's cool, whatever, man. So then you stay away from a job and you do all the little hustles you can do. So that way you ain't paying that back. Or you get on GA, right? So GA ain't paying you nothing but $500 a month. Compared to say if you was getting paid $2,300 or $2,500 a month, and they only taking the $500 off of that, and you still get $2,000 a month. But more people, they don't get that. They like, nah, she got me on child support. I ain't working. That's the dumbest stuff I've ever heard. You ain't working because she put you on child support. What that got to do with you? You still got to take care of you and your responsibility, but you got to take care of you. So most time, like I get it, and I understand where she coming from, because like I know like that would happen to me and my wife, and no matter what I said as a man, I don't even feel comfortable them taking no money from me, and I'm taking care of my baby. We ain't finna do this.
All right.
Let me tell you something.
Let me just say this. Dirk, your background. Aisha said this, and this is the point I made earlier, and I think she gets it. See, a lot of women don't get it, but I think from her comment, she gets it. She said women use their kids as pawns, as weapons, keeping them from their dads away to hurt them, but in the end, it hurts the whole family. And that's mainly out of all of this that we want the women in the community. That vindictive stuff ends up hurting our kids, and then the result of it is the violence we see in our community. You know, the suffering of our kids. We pass this hurtness, you know, hurt people, broke people, broke people. You know what I'm saying? And we pass this to our kids, and we have this. And what about our man, you know, in the community who walk away from responsibility? Because I'm not going to let the man off the hook. Like you said, Rico, there's a lot of dudes out here that just walk away from the responsibility, or just like, I ain't going to work no more. And I never got that. I paid when I had to pay before I had custody. I didn't care. like, because I had to eliminate the money process out the end of the day, because at the end of the day, I wanted my daughter to know one thing, two things, three things. Yeah. I'm going to be with you as your dad no matter what you go through. And I've been with my daughter from day one. I don't care about your mama, with who she with, who she married, what she do. You my child, I'm gonna be there, because I know that hurt and that pain that my dad caused me not being there for me. I said, I don't care if we ain't together. I'm gonna be there. And I've been there for my daughter all the way to the end. Financially, I'm gonna support you and give you all the things that I couldn't get. And sometimes that damage our kids. And sometimes they say, oh, your kid's spoiled. But I was like, I'm gonna fight financially to make sure you have everything that you need that I could possibly provide to give you foundation. And I will never walk away from you no matter what decision you make or do. I'm gonna be there for you. That was a choice that I made. And a lot of men won't make that because of the woman. And that's why I don't respect a lot of those dudes. At the end of the day, what Rico said was very important. If that's your seed, as a man, you got to be there. I don't care what the woman going through. You got to be there for your kid. I didn't care what obstacle I had to go through, but I knew a lot of it was tied to money. So I said, hey, I don't care. I told the judge, I'll pay $1,500 a month. I don't care. Let's get the money out the way. But I'm gonna be there for my child. So I see Dirk back up. We'll get Dirk on. And then I want all you guys, as we start getting later into this hour, that, you know, whether you had a father in your life, I know Rico didn't. I don't know everybody's background, but some of the things, because I believe all of us on here, I didn't get no book. I'm just gonna speak for me, right? I didn't get no book on how to be a dad, you know, how to raise a kid, all the things that I need to do for my daughter. So I never say I was the best dad, right? I just did as a man what I thought was right, and I learned as I went through my failures and my obstacles. But now that we all at this place, you know, James, you got you've been, like you said, a kid in every generation, Nate, dealing with the kids in the community. How can we also take some of these experiences of life that we've learned how to be fathers and put that out there to these kids who listen today, are these young parents and some of these older guys, because it's, you know, it's no age limit on fatherhood, right? Because we want to engage some of our fathers. I know a lot of men that's in their 40s, 50s, still ain't really involved in their kids' life. How can we give them some tools and some information to be fathers and be a part no matter what? Because we, you know, going off of the stuff that we've been through, that we've learned now. But with that, Dirk's back up. Go ahead, Dirk. I want to let you jump in. I know you've been trying to get in and off for a minute. Go ahead, Dirk.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. So everybody got similar experiences. So my experience with my daughter, with me and my daughter's mother was going through it, and then I just made a conscious choice when I was even though she had filed child support, I'm there every day, but we was bumping heads. She had her big cousin. You need to get that nigga for child support. Fuck him, all like that. So she filed child support on me, and my daughter's about 2 years old. So, but in the midst of all that going on, we went to court and we filed for custody, you know, legal custody, and we filed for joint custody or something like that. So at 2 years old, I got joint custody. Then they cut the child support in half. Was 500, went to 250. So it stayed 250 from she was 2 till she was 18. And I just made a conscious choice, and it hurt me so much that I couldn't be with her, that I'm gonna be here for my daughter. And that was, I said, I said, I don't care what you do. I said, do what you gotta do, whoever you want to be with, but I'm here for my daughter. However you want to do it. I said, what days you want to, I made her make all the decisions, what days she want. I gave her all the options and stuff like that. I was been the flexible one. So I just made sure that I did everything that I could to make it calm and peace in the family. I didn't pick no fights. I didn't care who she was dealing with or anything like that. Even though I was kind of jealous and just worried about what kind of dude she had around my daughter, but I just kept it to, my mother told me, just be there for your daughter. And my mother helped me get through this pain and stuff. And she said, let's focus on Desiree and everything's gonna be all right. And I focused on my daughter, and my daughter is 22 years old right now, and she just graduated from Tulane University this year or something like that. So me being in her life, I'm the one who took her to the dentist. I took her to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? I did all that kind of stuff. I put it in the school district. I did all that stuff right there. I went to all the basketball games. She's a basketball player. I did all that, you know what I'm saying? So I just made sure that she feel loved. And So that's just a brief thing on how I got through it. So I do the same thing with my son. Y'all met my son, and my son, I'm gonna try to get my son right, and then John get in and jump on him and stuff like that. Next thing you know, he a whole different person and stuff like that. He came home from his mother came from school. Friday, he up there trying to do catch up work and stuff like that. He said, "Damn, I like wherever thing you in, whoever he was talking to, we need to keep him around and stuff like that." So it's that community, you know what I'm saying? Everybody being involved. So he liked it that you was cared, that you got involved, and he loved that push you again, because my message was starting to die out. It was going in deaf ears and stuff like that. But when you came in, he got a new spark. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. So people that don't know, me and Rico, we have a mentoring program, and what Dirk is talking about, we've been helping mentor his kid, and this is what this is about. It's a brotherhood, using the village, and like Rico made a good point. It's not that you're a bad dad, right? It's just sometimes kids hear stuff different from different people, and we about supporting each other, and that's my goal in this mentorship program, is to help our fathers, not to take away from our fathers and our mother. We just trying to be assistant to them and get them information and get them tools to win. But I think you made a good point, Dirk, that I think we should touch on, because I know a lot of times when people separate, and I see some of the comments out there, just so the sisters know out there, we getting some of the sisters' feedback. We will try to give tools to the man and woman. Right now, this is the Black father experience. We will have a mother experience coming up shortly, and then we'll try to unite the two so we can have a better dialogue with both women and males up here. But right now, we're just trying to focus on the Black dad experience, some of the things that Black dads go through. And then, like I said, at some point, we'll try to unite the dads and the moms on the panel together to have an even better discussion. But one of the things that I found just in this work that I'm doing, Dirk, and to the other guys on here, it's the control part, right? So a lot of times women, they hold this custody thing. They like, well, I need to know who my child is around, right? And I had a question about that, because it's like, at the end of the day, yeah, there's some guys who not responsible. You should definitely ask that question. But for me, sometimes I've been around women, I'm like, hey, like, that's not really your place, right? Like, if y'all co-parenting, you have to trust that this father is going to make the right decision and make sure that your kid is safe, make sure that the people that is around him, he watching. And some women don't agree with that, but I think some women have to let that go. Like, stop trying to control your household and the household that he's in. Co-parent. Let the dad, when the kid is with the dad, let him do the thing. And I get it, sisters. There's a lot of guys out there who not responsible, not doing the right thing, maybe don't make the best decision as a person. But then again, that's what we all got to look in our in the mirror at ourselves and think about, who are we really messing with? And all these women talking about man relationships and all of this stuff, as man and women, we need to spend a little bit more time getting to know the people that we gonna have kids with. They always say it's a man's decision. A woman plays just as much role in having a kid. See, a lot of this started when women was just trying to trap man, get babies out of them, and then you got this piece of nothing. You know what I'm saying? Then you get mad. But I think we got to spend a little bit more time getting to know who you having children with. Do our principles in line? Do our values in line? You want this street dude who got all of the money, you know what I'm saying? Then you get pregnant, then y'all break up. Then you like, oh, you want to go to court and say, well, he out there in the streets. Well, you knew he was in the streets when you started messing with him. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of it, we got to take our own accountability for it. But I think it's hard for fathers to co-parent and parent their kids when you have those type of situations. And I know it come up a lot. And I have a lot of dudes that come and be like, man, this chick over here going to court saying this. When the kid is in, I don't ask what she doing over at her house. You know what I mean? So it's like, we got to be able to mind our business, co-parent, come together on things, and let our Black dads do their thing, because Black dads do rock, and we got a lot of Black dads that do amazing things. And again, we bring that community element to it to really help. So definitely we're going to be talking about that and continue pushing forward. But I'm glad you brought that up. But I see Nate back, and let's jump into some more stuff, because I know
I want to start one now. Okay, disclaimer: this ain't happened to me, but it's happened to a few guys that I've been. So disclaimer, or anything, yeah, it hasn't happened to me. But I've seen I'm thinking. I was thinking. I've seen on 3 occasions where the dad will pay child support for about 6, 7 years. I said one about 7 years, and one 3 years, and one about I think about 12 months. Kind of find out it's not even a kid. It's not even a kid.
It happens.
Man,
Nate, you gonna start
man,
fireworks.
that was
That's a
this
touchy.
one
He
guy.
is.
Hey, Nate, that's a touchy situation because I had this happen to a family member of mine. And
Man, it just I mean, it happened to a person I was dealing a kid I was trying to get off of a thing. Well, he ain't a kid, shit. He about 30 now. But anyway, he did I think 12 years of child support and found out that this kid was not his. Man, I mean, he cried and I was with him. He cried in court.
How did you
And
find out?
because they took a blood test.
Why they wait till
Had
2
to.
years to do the
I'm
blood
not.
test?
I don't,
Nah, but
brother. I
when
don't know all that.
when you here, but you gotta come on, Dirk. You know,
So-
if especially if it's a son, you be like, man, it's mine, man. You know what I'm saying? And you there, you don't think that the chick cheated, so if she didn't give him no signals for that, and you know what I'm saying? He just okay.
I mean, how do you even get to that point when you
Yeah,
take the
so
blood
it
test at
started.
12?
Dirk, it started when they were. I guess they were together for a long time, and then they broke up. Then, oh, that wasn't your son anyway. One of them. So
Oh,
now he wanted. So now it's going through his mind. So he finally went. I mean, about 3 months after that, he finally stepped up to the and took a blood test, and they came back to court with the results, and it wasn't his. And now they still and man, he can't even get
Real.
no money back.
Go ahead,
What?
Mr. Bob.
Crazy.
oh, they can't get
Yeah,
back in?
they ain't giving him no money back.
That's
because they
crazy.
said he was. They saying he was the rule they say is that he's a willing
There
willing
you go.
Participator.
I was just about to say
Yep.
that, James. Yep.
Yeah,
But that's a good one, y'all.
Ooh,
and they told him,
So-
and that's a
so the
loophole. They
flip
told him
side
he
of
should
this,
have.
so the flip.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead, James. Sorry about that. Go ahead, James.
No, I'm saying so. What they say is, since he was a willing participant, that he should have went on his own and contested it when the kid was born. But how do you? Who goes around contesting if a kid is in this world and you with the woman? Nobody does that. Just like me right now, my little guy right now. Yeah, man, he come out the womb. Yeah, I need a blood test to make sure he's mine. That's gonna start off the relationship bad.
That's a good question.
But
So
John,
this is both sides of the conversation. So it's a 2-part to that.
John,
After you find out the kid is not yours, as a black man, as a father, and this kid has been around you, after you find out it is not your kid, do you still stay there as a father and support that kid? That's one question.
Wait. Hey, I got a perfect sentence. So when I was 16, I've had that happen to me before. I have I got a son that's 30 years old. His name is Cameron Owls, and this woman said that she was my kid. I had went away to college. I went to Dillon University. I came back, got child support. I got back to me. I said, man, if I'm gonna be paying child support, I need to make sure this kid is mine. So I went and got a blood test, came back. I was already starting to get him already. I was picking him up, and he was 3 years old. And I just said, and I got the test. I told my mother, I said, listen, I said, what should I do? I said, I don't know. I said, I'm just gonna keep going to get him. So I got him every weekend, and then he started staying with me. But it kind of went bad because he found out that I wasn't his real dad and stuff like that. So he kind of had some kind of resentment towards me because I wasn't his real father. So I really couldn't tell him that. That's how he was feeling and stuff like that. And I think it was mad at his mother because she had told him that and stuff like that. And I was like, and he always like, man, I should have listened to what you were saying. Cause I was telling, I said, listen, dude, you got a house here. You here, my mother, we all accept you as my son, and all our cousins, everybody knew who he was, and everybody accepted him and stuff like that. But he made the decision to not do that. So I've went through that situation like that, and I just say, look, he ain't got nobody. I'm gonna be here for him, stuff like that. So I made that decision to be there for him. I was only 20 years old, and I know he wasn't my kid, but I stuck it out with him, and he'll vouch for that to this day.
Go ahead, Rico. I know you had something.
yeah, no, I'm just gonna say, like in the beginning stages of all relationships, we are in our peak stage, right? So the peak stage is, everything lovey-dovey, everything is, amazing. And most times that's when, that's when babies are created, right? It's in those first, lovey-dovey stages, and Cupid is right there shooting hella arrows, and everybody ain't thinking, y'all just like, oh, this is a good match, and we gonna go. But a lot of times it's like the signs, like a lot of times we don't pay attention to the signs.
The signs are there,
that's telling us, 9 times out of 10, if you a dude who running the streets, 9 times out of 10, she got room to do whatever she want to do. And you got room. So y'all giving each other all this wiggle room, and who knows what's happening in between time while you out doing whatever you supposed to do or whatever you doing. And then you think she just gonna be right there and she gonna be faithful to you. So that ain't just how life works. You know what I'm saying? So I always tell folks is once the honeymoon is over, that's when you start realizing what life is about. So hold off, wear a condom, stay safe, stop playing, you know what I mean, and really make a decision, because the signs is there, you know what I mean? Because like 9 times out of 10, from what I know, and being someone who grew up in a community that's underserved and impoverished, 9 times out of 10, the girl or the woman, she taking care of the man. 9 times out of 10, or I'll say 7 times out of 10, because I don't, want no bashing on the Facebook on me, but 7 times out of 10, she taking care of him. He ain't got no job. Right? But then she planning a life around that and not paying attention to what's there. He might be a good dude, but like at the end of the day, how is he when it comes to responsibility? You know what I mean? And sometimes we don't look at that stuff. We like, oh, he is a good dude, but how is he with responsibility? You know what I mean? When you gone and you at work, do we clean up? Do we step up in places where where you can't do it because you working all day? Like look, like how do we look at the other pieces of it? Because those are the pieces where things go bad. And then, sometimes we like somebody, but we don't even love them, right? And I'm gonna give you an example of that. When I was younger, I had a girl who I didn't love her. I liked her, but she was convenient. She gave me the keys to the house. She let me drive her car. She bought me the newest PlayStation to keep me in the house, bought me some weed, and that was lit for me. I didn't love her at all. I just liked her and I thought she was cool, but she was building her life around me. And I wasn't being honest, and I wasn't saying, hey, Ma, I like you right now. Let's continue to build on this. Every moment I got just to keep my stuff going, you know what I told her? I love you. I love you. You know what I'm saying? And then it go vice versa. It'd be the same thing even with men. Like some men get more emotional than women. And they be in their feelings and they like, oh, I ain't messing with you because, things just didn't work out. Or he see her get with somebody who's better than him financially or responsibility, as far as responsibility. Now he in his feelings and he don't want to see his baby because you got this other dude who really being a man. So like it go both ways on how I kind of see it, but I always know that there's signs that show us the reality of all things. And sometimes, like with Cupid hitting us with them arrows, we be naive to that stuff.
Rico Suave. No,
hey,
but
John, I can't lie. I got to give both sides.
No, we got to keep it 100. I mean, this is what it is. We talk about our experiences, and that's the importance so that women understand. But I think, I know James had to jump off or he lost connection or something, but I think this is a start of making that change, right? For parenting, make sure the kid is yours, so that we know ahead of time is the policy should be put in place that anybody having that kid should automatically have that DNA blood test, right? Just off the rip, just because again, not only it affects you and that person, as a taxpayer, it affects me and everybody on here, right? Because if we do have these situations, we paying the taxes for these services that we're providing to these people who don't even know who the dad is, right? So I think part of rewriting our child support, custody support, family support, this reform should look like, one, we should be making sure that any woman who has a baby is claiming that this person's the father, who she thinks the father, or whatever, we should have a blood test, a DNA test right there. I think that's just out the rip.
John, you trying to get somebody hurt. Stop that.
No, I'm just, but we have to do it though, Rico. I mean, I'm just being real because let me tell you, and I'm not going to throw no names out here. I've dealt with this 6 times. And let me tell you, like what James said and Nate said about how people felt, man, I seen dudes break down. Cold, like this ain't my kid, like all the time. Like I was in the office with somebody. Waiting for they DNA results to come back. And that brother was told this ain't his kid. Oh my God. You talking
But
about
John, there's more that go to that though. You know what I'm saying? Like us as men, we feel entitled to certain things that's not realistic. Like our entitlement issue is like we out stunting every single day, every single night. We ain't even tripping off her. She had a baby. Now all of a sudden we in love. And then come to find out she was stunting when you were stunting, and now we deeply hurt or affected. Stop, John.
But that's not the problem. That's not the problem of the people.
I'm trying to log. I mean,
You
Are you
in?
hearing me?
Herb, look, we got Big Herb up in here. What's up, Big Herb? Come on, man. We talking about the Black Dad experience.
Yeah,
I'm glad you on today too, because you got a great story, both sides. I know you see the good, the bad of it, and man, definitely want to hear from you on your experience as doing this father stuff, man.
right. I mean, I got, I came in. I got a daughter. That's I think my oldest daughter is like 33 years old. She in Virginia, and when me and her mom was together, it was good. We had my daughter, and unfortunately, I got on drugs. And when I got on drugs and got to using crack, I wasn't fit to be in my daughter's life at that time, and I wasn't trying to, and her mom wasn't fit to allow that to happen. So for like 2-3 years, I was missing in action and ended up going to the penitentiary. And when I got out, I was fortunate to have a relationship with my oldest daughter, and so me and her got a good relationship right now. And then I met my wife Rhonda when I first got out the pen, and I ain't never been with a woman that had kids before. So when I met her, we hit it off. But she had 2 kids, little Steve, which was Steve was 2 years old, and she had Alicia, and Alicia was 4 years old. So I took on the responsibility of being daddy, and it was a beautiful thing. And I just raised the kids the way I was raised, through sports, through educational activities, and really just staying away from drugs and gangs. And it worked out. Steve ended up, being a star football player, ended up getting drafted and made it to the NFL. And then I had my son Andre by my wife Rhonda, and he's a great kid, responsible, respectful. He ended up being a star basketball, football player, and ended up going to Utah University and graduated from there. And then my daughter, my youngest daughter, she had 3 children, but just being a dad, man. I mean, if you bring them into the world, you got to take care of them. I mean, it's like, for me, people get over captivated by the material things. You'll take care of your car. You'll take care of your Jordans. You'll take care of your PS5, you'll take care of all that shit. So that right there, you got to have your priorities right when you're dealing with a kid, and parents that, I mean, with the you're not sure and all of that. That's just unfortunate. That's I never had to go down that road, and I thank God I had.
Right. So Herb, you got a good perspective because you was able to articulate, one kid that you wasn't married with versus being married. What was the challenges, or what was the differences between, raising, okay, you went through that period of not,
Well, you know what, John? One of the good things, and I was fortunate, is my oldest daughter, mom, was very responsible, very intelligent, and I was the only ghetto dude she fucked with. And she had a baby by me, but she have always been on the other side of the fence, you know, taking care of responsibilities. So when I was down and out, she didn't miss a beat, because that's just how she was built. So when I was down and out and incarcerated and using drugs, you know, she just handled what she had to handle. And that right there was a blessing for me, you know, because once I got out and got on my feet, I was able to contribute and help with, you know, Christmas and birthdays, and now I'm helping my oldest daughter with my grandchildren whenever I can, you know, whether it's sending a few dollars or sending some gifts or whatever, you know, but just trying to be productive and active in their life.
Right. And you know, dealing with your first kid, because that's from a different family.
Right.
Did any, you know, because we're trying to explain to the people the experience, did it alter the relationship with your daughter? Because like me and Rico I talked about my dad left, and you know, he was with his new wife and his family. And I felt like the things that he was doing with the family that he was with, he wasn't doing with me. It had some resentment.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever experience any of that?
Yeah, I did. Well, you know, it's like my daughter, you know, when I got with my wife and I had Steve and Alicia, I used to have my daughter with me too. All three of us, you know, we used to be together as a unit with my wife, and some animosity surfaced between the two women, and my oldest daughter mom wanted to keep my daughter, you know, away from me. You know, but you know what I told myself? I say, when my daughter get old enough, she gonna reach out to me, because she got the same personality that I have. And that's exactly what happened. So she reached out to me anyway. Long story short, I was giving her a party. I think she was turning 16. So I was giving her, like, you know, a nice party with the DJ and some dancing and all of that. And her mama came up there and disrupted the party, shut the party down. So her and my wife, they got into a physical altercation. And so that right there was bad. So I was separated from my daughter, my biological daughter, for like 3 years behind that, you know. And eventually she came back around, and I don't even bring it up because it was just an ugly situation, man. And it wasn't on me. It was just her mom was just being evil, and she wanted to disrupt the party, and that's what she did. And the two women had an altercation, and I was on the outside looking in. I couldn't see my daughter.
Yeah, so that's a good point you brought, because that's one thing we talked about earlier is, you know, when women weaponize their children against the man, how it not only affects the dad but affects the children.
Oh yeah.
I'm just glad you're able to explain that, because we need our women out here too to understand, like,
oh yeah,
that happened. You know,
and that's real, man. And women gotta realize, man, these young men or girls, they need their daddy in their life. Just because you and the man ain't getting along, you guys gotta coexist for the kid. You know, so it's not about you, it's not about our relationship no more. If the relationship have deteriorated to where we ain't finna get back together, we can't poison the kid with that foolishness. You know, it's like even my wife, when you know, like I said, I was raising Steve, and periodically his biological dad want to come around. And my wife, I'm like, man, listen, no. If he want to come around, he can come around. We ain't gonna get down like that. I'm not trying to, you know, deprive him of being around his son. Okay, so you know, if he come around 2 times out the year, give him that privilege. So you know, but women, man, women be evil and use the kid as a power, as leverage, to be like, oh well, you can't come to see your son. He ain't here, or don't answer the phone. Yeah, that right there ain't good. And women got to realize it do tremendously affect the kid, the son or the daughter. You know, the son or the daughter. You know.
Right. And her, because this is both sides of the conversation, you know, and this is an educational part to educate our dads. I think you kind of really articulated that pretty good too when you talk about you've been through this as a stepfather, right?
Right.
How do we get more men to open up, like you said, if you married to somebody or you move on to another relationship and she already has kids, how do we get our younger men and people in relationship to be mature to also help the man be cool with that? Because sometimes, you know, man would be like, hey man, I don't, you know, this ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a good point. Like, how do we make it so that men, when they get in those situations, that
You
they
know,
don't
it's
get into
like,
the conflict and they help support these kids?
right, right, right. I mean, it's like if the let's say a woman broke up with her man and they officially relationship is over with. They ain't been together for 2 years. Now all of a sudden the woman go out and she meet a new guy. Handsome guy, work, responsible, and she take a liking to him. She moves him in. So he got to be around this other guy's son and daughter. But he's being responsible. He taking care of his business. He's not abusing the kids. He respected them and the whole 9 yards. So the dude that broke up, now all of a sudden you want to make your presence known. Now all of a sudden you want to step to the forefront as if, but you had been neglecting this responsibility for the last 2 years. Now you see her with a new guy and trying to move forward without you. Now all of a sudden you want to tap back in and it's not cool. It don't happen like that. But you know, and guys can create conflicts and escalate it to something else, and that ain't cool neither. You know, like with me, I have always been respected. You know, and I have always respected other individuals. So I never had that type of situation to where somebody, because I was a plus. See, if you're a plus to the family, to the woman, and to the kids, and the biological parents see that, man, they gotta respect the game. But these new dudes, I just don't know. They may not be as understanding and as the people that I grew up, the era I grew up in, raising my kids, you know.
Hey Herm, I got one question for you. This your boy Nate, man. What's going on with you?
Hey Nate, how you doing?
I'm good. Hey, just because I see it all the time, and you saw it when you was coaching. You know, you get this kid that's he wasn't that good. Now all of a sudden he done turned out to be 6'6", 6'7", getting all this college attention. Then the dad want to come around. How was that like with Steve when all of a sudden that stuff started blowing up?
You know, it's like you know, I'm so confident, Nate. It really didn't affect me until it started affecting Steve. Now, until it started affecting my son. Like with me, you know, I know what I have done. You know, I know the direction, the guides, the influence that I had on little Steve. So, and didn't nobody never come around until he made the first catch against Louisville.
Absolutely.
He made that big catch against Louisville. You know, different people started coming around. I'm like, okay, you know, whatever, it's good. But I was still, you know, it was me and Steve. I walked him through the whole draft, the whole rookie season. But then after the rookie season, you know, he made the decision to pretty much step away from my leadership. You know, he didn't want to listen to my advice no more. You know, and Nate, one thing I told Steve was, you know, because when Steve was in Kentucky, the English professor called me and said, I can't find the letter, man, because I keep all that stuff. She sent me a letter and she called me. She said, Steve got a great personality. You know, I can see him being a big time commentator. You know, because he was specializing in telecommunications and stuff. So I say, look, Steve, I know you got a couple of tattoos. Dude, do not put no tattoos on your face, your neck, or your hands. I mean, if you get a tattoo, keep it to where a shirt can cover it up. And because I wanted to guide him through doing what some of these NFL players do on ESPN, talk about the game or coach the game, but he got all the tattoos, and I think that right there took him out of that mix. And you know, then other people just start coming around and you know, but once these kids, Nate, graduate and get the money and things start going according to how they want it to go, now they make their decision. They either gonna let you keep on holding on to the coattail, or they gonna say, man, bag up. And in my case, it was a bag up, you know. So other than that, you know, but you know, as long as Steve was balling in high school and in college, it was good. And when he got to the league the first year, I walked him through the whole process. And once he got his feet wet, you know, he just started making his own decisions.
Wow, that's deep. Rico, I know you got something. Jump in there, Rico.
Well, no, I mean, I just commend Herm on you know, just stepping up. I mean, I think that it attests to like what our young people really need. Like they really just need somebody to be there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I think the greatest gift that we can give them is our presence, right? So
and you know what, Rico, is like just like with Nate Ford, right? You know, we do it from the heart. You know, when I was coaching, my whole strategy was to follow Nate Ford's example, Big Mayfield's example, John Greenberg example, because them are the people that I emulate. So my thing was athletics in school kept me out of trouble. That's how we established our reputation from the beginning. So when I was coaching, I wasn't coaching Steve to go to the NFL. I wasn't coaching my son Andre to go to the NFL. And it just happened. And you know, and I never pushed that on them. It was just, you know, I prayed about it. I kept it to myself. And in order for any of that to happen, you got to have a good parent, whether it's a step parent, biological parent. You got to have a responsible mom that's gonna ride with you to games and help you coach and help you keep the kid grounded. You need all of that. It got to be a team effort. And then, you know, after so many years, I was telling my partner today, my son Andre, he was real good in basketball, but he got tired of hearing my voice, Rico. He got tired of hearing my voice. So I sat down, I said, look, Dio, I want you take him, Dio. So Dio took Andre and started coaching him. And pretty much everything that I was telling Andre to do, Dio told him to do it with just a different way. And it was effective. And so I will never forget that. Sometimes, you know, even in the music business, TC, the producer, he told me, say, Herm, you gotta rub each rapper differently. You know, and it's the same with sports. You know, same with kids. You can't treat every kid the same exact way. Some kids you gotta be a little more aggressive with them. Some kids you gotta be a little more passive with them. Some kids you gotta sit down with them and give them the instruction step by step. But you do it because it's in your heart to do it. You ain't doing it for no prize.
Right, that's deep. I got a couple questions, Rico, that came in from the comments. I guess this was for the parents when we was talking about how the system affect them. The question says, the best thing to do before you sign into the system is to understand the game and what effects you should expect. Both parties need to discuss this before you sign some paperwork. Most women don't know what they are doing and the devastating effect it will have on their children and the man. And then something in here from about the paternity papers. It says if a man signs papers of paternity, he is taking responsibility for that child. If it comes out later that he is not the biological father, the courts will still hold him responsible because he signed those papers. What y'all think about that?
No, that's absolutely what happened to the person I was saying, and that's exactly what was the ruling on that. I just felt bad for the brother because he really, you know, he took care of that kid for 12 years, and then to find out, you know, that, I mean, you know, he's still going through it emotionally, you know what I'm saying? And here's the kicker, now that the other dad is coming around, And it's kind of like, you know, he still want to be around. Shit, he been there 12 years, over half his, you know, childhood life, and you know, it's starting to get a little funky now with it. So, you know, he's at the point, and I just talked to him on Friday, and he was at the point, man, should I just let go, or you know what I'm saying, or keep trying to do it? He said, I'm not trying to get into it with nobody about, you know, their son, and but I did raise him for 12 years. So, and to the other parent credit, he didn't know it was his kid. So I'm not gonna bash him either. But now he come in the picture. Now he wanted, you know, he wanted to take over and make up for lost time, which is probably impossible. But you know, I can't tell him. Man, that was the first time I never had an answer for somebody, because I can't go back and tell the real dad, man, you let him be. I
think they could share the responsibility, because he's already been there, and then they let him come in and they can work together, and he can have two fathers really, or something like that. So
like Herm said, this young generation, man, don't see the benefits in that.
That's what they should have did. That's what should have happened.
I think, you know, with the guy that's been raising the kid for 12 years, and the new parent that just found out that it's his kid, man, they need to, man, go to lunch, sit down, talk about it, and come up with a game plan. If you guys gonna coexist as parents for this kid, you know, and if is the other guy still trying to deal with the woman? Do they have a relationship?
Hey, Herm, it's they youngsters, man. They 30 years old, Herm. They 30 years old. They youngsters, Herm. Yeah. You know, oh man, you from over here. It's one of them. They tried to sit down. They tried to go to Tad's Steakhouse before they was closed. All that shit tried, and it just you know, crazy.
That's unfortunate.
That's immaturity, you know what I'm saying?
Of course, but Herm, that go back to Herm was talking about the young generation of dads is kind of, you know,
and
funky with that.
And what did the mother do with this? Did she say anything? Did she try to mend it and try to explain why it happened or something like this? Because he could have been feeling some type of way that, like, how you gonna have another baby and pin it on me, and you weren't even sure, you had doubts in your mind. You should have been brought that up. So that could have been resentment between her and like that.
Yeah, well, she definitely got scolded in front of the judge. Scolded her, that's for sure. And it was, I've never seen that, but the judge did scold her for that, and it was, but that was about the farthest that I saw in that. I don't think he questioned her, and I think he was mad at the you know, the first 2-3 weeks, but he never. I don't even think he got a dialogue with her right now. He's so mad.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like this, right? I commend the brother who found out and still wanted to step up. I think that takes a man to do that. You know, unfortunately, the guy who that is the father, whatever situation he has going on with the lady is affected. But just to go back to Naisha's question, you know, I have an issue with that, right? Because even here in California, if you sign something that you agree to under the understanding of that's what it is, and you find out it's not, it has to be some kind of way you have to rethink about this. Like that just don't make sense to me. Like if I make a decision. It's the contract. Yeah,
it's a breach of contract.
It should be a breach of contract. Yeah. Somebody was lying about what's going on.
I mean, women and men could be deceiving, but it's just like, okay, I'm going like Rico said, I'm going off the intention that we together. This is my kid, and then I find out. But that's why I say this has to happen before, man. I mean, if I'm gonna find out it ain't my kid, let me know now. I don't care if it's gonna destroy our relationship. I want to get it out the way now. So how do we make this moving forward and get this into policy?
Make it a law.
I don't want to wait 5 years. If she cheating on me or she doing whatever, I want to know now. I don't want to wait 10 years down the line to find out this is my kid. All this time I'm saying this, and now we take a DNA test and this not my kid.
But how you have that conversation, y'all together, and you could like have some doubt, you know what I'm saying? That's going to put some strain on the relationship. Oh, you don't trust me, you don't think the kid ain't mine, you know what I'm saying? That's a tricky slope you're going down right there.
Well, I mean,
I would be interested. I'm interested to see, you know, how this situation will unfold. You know, with the 12-year-old kid and the new parents stepping up. You know, how's they gonna handle that? I mean, we don't. Hopefully, that right there don't escalate to something that's not good. Hopefully, hopefully them dudes can come together and put their differences to the side, and hopefully the female can, you know, use whatever influence she has to make it possible. You know, because the kid is the one that's going to be affected, and both parents, both of the guys, need to take that into consideration. Like, man, you know what? Let's do this for the son. You know, I mean, if the son playing ball, you know, man, we got to team up, man. We can both be in the stands, you know, and to cheer him on. But that right there is something that
it's a sticky situation, like Nate said. But again, how do we use this information that we're talking about here? And that's the whole part of this conversation, is to help educate, you know, our young men. You know, how do we take our experiences as OGs or people who've been through this? How do we take a Herm Lewis story to these young people and say, look, man, here's a brother who's been through this and it works? If you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we have to make this, you know, information. I mean, part of these conversations is to help heal, right? And a lot of our young people is damaged, and we got to figure out how do we use these conversations, this information, to heal the community. So I think this is a good thing, Nate. I mean, just we got to sit these youngsters down. We got to talk to them and give them some other perspectives. And we might have to sit down with the woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was seeing Nisha put in the comments that they can go to the drugstore, get a paternity test. I ain't never seen nobody do that. I mean, I think when you're saying you're pregnant, you're about to have a baby, it's a sign of probably joy for both couple, you know, both parties involved. And then, you know, things might get funky down the end. And I mean, you know, that's always the question. Oh, you should have took a blood test or something like that. But, you know, in the beginning, I don't think no one's thinking about that.
No. I mean, I don't think so. It's like if you're in a relationship and you're supposed to be considered in a committed relationship, and you've been in this relationship for 4 years, and the chick come up and say, hey, baby, I'm pregnant, and you ain't got no indication that she been sliding with somebody else. Now, to your knowledge, you have no indication that she's been, you know, sneaking out the back door. So if she come and say, baby, I'm pregnant, you and her been rocking for 4 years, and it seemed to be solid, you just go, okay, baby, you're pregnant, let's make it happen. And then, but now, all the time, you've been sliding out the back door. And 12 years later, it's been revealed. Man, that's some fucked up shit. That ain't good.
Right. So this is where I say we have to hold women accountable. Because at the end of the day, this is what I'm talking about, control. Women controls this, right? Because they know what they doing. When they take the paternity test, we don't know if they pregnant. They can get all the information. So how much do we hold the women accountable? I think that women should be honest and just say, hey, if they know they are creeping out the back door, sleeping with other people, doing shady stuff, they should be the one initiating this paternity test. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, John, now I got to go both sides of the conversation. Rico, I'm going to do a Rico here. Now, what if, you know, you ain't been taken care of because you ain't sure that's your baby and this and that. And then all of a sudden, now it proves it's your baby. Now, how do you come back in the picture? I mean, how do you think the mom feels? Both sides of the conversation there, John. That's all I'm throwing out.
Hey, Nate.
Right, Rico?
Hey, Nate, you tapping into the younger, bitter side of me, right, Nate? So I was hurt. I'm telling you, I didn't have to go through that part of it. But, you know, after I had my daughter later on, you know, I had a vasectomy, right? And I used to intentionally be like, man, if this chick, I'd be like, I used to be this the sick thinking of me when I was younger. Like, if a woman tell me she pregnant by me and I know she can't, I'm riding it out the whole 9 months and I'm walking away. You know what I'm saying? I was cold. I'm like, I wish a woman would tell me that, man. I'm going 9 months. Oh yeah, this is my baby. Come on. We're going to go through all the hoops and holes and I'm going to walk away. Now that was the younger sick of me when I wasn't thinking.
Hey, hold on before you go further. Are those 100%?
It was for me. It was for me.
I'm telling you though, I don't think they are, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I would just bring that up because I mean that's traumatic, man. So I mean, when I was on that younger stuff, like, I wish a woman would do that to me, but it happens, man.
Yeah, a lot of that is also just, sometimes we all make mistakes, right? And in the mistakes that we make, sometimes it's like during a time where like you perceive it to be this way with the person that you are with, y'all going through your little ups and downs, a person make a mistake on both ends, y'all both make the mistake, she accidentally get pregnant or whatever. It's the hardest thing in the world to tell somebody that you really, really love that you cheated on them. Because 9 times out of 10, the men today are over emotional. They more emotional than women. So like it's, what I mean? And I'm not saying that we can't be emotional. It's okay for us to be emotional, but like we act worse. Like our behavior become weird. And it's like, bro, calm down. She was honest with you. 9 times out of 10, a girl be honest with one of us right now. Not us, but just with a dude right now. He's not going for that, period. Don, I don't care. I'm leaving you. Woo woo. She done stuck by your side when you done cheated on her with 50 dudes, 50 females, all the stuff. You got a girl pregnant over there in Modesto, everything. And then she tell you the baby might not be yours. I cheated on you one time when we broke up, when y'all was broke up. Guarantee he going ham. I'm leaving. He might beat her up. It might just be crazy.
Hey, y'all, I gotta go, man. I love y'all, man.
All right.
I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all.
Hey,
all right, Herm.
That's
all right, be cool, Nate.
All right.
Hey, that's true, Rico. I mean, that's a good statement. I mean, a lot of these, a lot of these men can't deal with it, and I think that's why it's important for us as men in the community, especially when it comes to our young men, teaching them how to be a male and how to tap in and out of their emotions to get that leadership, and that was a blessing with what Herm said, that he was able to, under his leadership, help guide some of these things. And I think that's why it's important to get the Black dads involved with the kids. But, I guess me and Rico is just going to tap into another business here at both sides of the conversation. We're going to get into the paternity business. We're going to be the new Maury. You can come on both sides of the conversation. We'll let you know if the baby's yours or not.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just like, no, you just gotta know who you're dealing with, man. When you get with somebody, just get to know them and know if y'all on the same page. That's just what we gotta be at. People just jumping in because they're hot and sexy and just jumping in and really get to know each other. And like Rico said earlier, there are signs that people always show you signs who they really are all the time, and we just ignore them and stuff like that. So because even with my daughters, now she was showing signs, she was the nicest thing and stuff like that. All of a sudden, the attitude started coming. I said, "Oh, you get comfortable with it now. You started to show your true self." And that's what I told her. And I remember that if that summer love was just the greatest thing ever, stuff like that. Now that summer love, my daughter came, and you just gotta know who you're dealing with.
Night, huh?
It was like problems started happening up and stuff like that. That baby, she got pregnant. It was cool until the baby came, and then that's when the problem, she wanted to go out. We was not on the same page and stuff like that. She was young still. So it's all about just knowing who you're dealing with. And another thing I want to say, what I'm saying? My mother was, when my father wasn't around, and she never bashed him one time and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I want to bring back up, that some mothers be bashing their dad, stuff like that. She never bashed him. And all that will come out. All that's going to come out. You know what I'm saying? All stories gonna come out, and you get to make your own decision on your own instead of your mother making you make your own decision for you or stuff like that. Instead of you making your own decision, just getting to know the situation and you decide what you want to do or something like that. So I think my mother, for not being that kind of mother, she was just always even and just fair. So like she said, I ain't say nothing bad. I let you decide, and you talk to him, and you go from there or something like that.
Yeah, that's powerful right there. That's powerful, and that's the same experience I have with my oldest daughter. Because before I got on drugs, I was a stand-up dude. And then crack affected everybody. So when I messed with that, I just lost my character, my morale, and all that. But she never told my daughter nothing bad or bash me like, oh, he ain't nothing. Because I was always responsible in handling my business until I got under the influence. Once I got under the influence, when I was under the influence, and I'm like that today. And I'm not, I've been clean 30 years, so that's over with. But if I'm not right, I'm not trying to be up under no female. I'm not trying to be up under my kids because I'm accustomed to bringing something to the table. And if I'm not bringing something to the table, whether it's some wisdom, some guidance, some knowledge, leadership, some cash, some food for the table, then I prefer to just stay away. And so my daughter was never, her mama never dirty man. And I told myself, I said, my daughter will come around when she get old enough to make the decision herself. And when she was old enough to distinguish what type of daddy I was, we got a good relationship. And that's valuable, man.
Everything's cool after that.
Right now, for me, I've done a lot. So the most important thing for me is just having a solid relationship with my kids. And I told my kids years ago, I'm not going to do nothing to humiliate you. I'm not going to do nothing to embarrass you, unless you just so out of pocket to where I got to call you. But if I see my kids doing something that's a little unacceptable among their friends, I'm not friendly humiliated. I may give them a look, and they already know. My mama used to be able to give me a look, and she just give me a look, and we straighten up. So it's all about maintaining. If you're fortunate to be in your kid's life, and it's your kid, and even if it's a step kid that you have raised, like I said, I raised Steve since he was 2 years old. So yeah, that's my kid. And same with my daughter Alicia. So it's just if you're fortunate to have some kids and you got good relationship with them and some influence with them, that's valuable. And that's valuable. I just hope that this dude that's dealing with his 12-year-old kid after 12 years, hopefully they can make that work out.
Yeah, I think that's powerful, man. And Rico, we raised daughters. Herm, that's a good point. And the experience of me raising my daughter, what Rico said earlier, we talked about community support is so important for men and women, because I was a single father raising a daughter, and it was a lot of challenges, having to do hair, and I did it. I like braided, wasn't the best, but I did it. But then I had a supportive community, people, aunties, cousins, family, sisters, different people. If I was in a relationship, helped out to give her game on the woman's side, but making sure that we impact them. Like Rico, I know the involvement in your kid, your daughters, and how we highlight them and promote them to be great and hold them to a different standard. I think it's important. I posted a video in the group about earlier today, this birthday party where these kids was twerking and doing all of this stuff. And I think this is why it's important as dads and having that viewpoint as a dad, especially when it comes to our young women, because we don't let that type of stuff happen. You know what I mean? Sometimes what Herm said earlier about the leadership, the follow by example. And I hope that the men in the community and the women in the community understand that these kids watching us, how we behave, how we act, the things that we do, it's an influence. And I think sometimes when women indulge in alcohol, different things at parties, and we let these kids do these provocative dances and we think it's okay and we think it's cute, sometimes can be detrimental to the community. And that's why sometimes, having that dad there to have that perspective from a dad point of view, like, hey, nah, this ain't going down like this, is very important. And having the dads in the lives of these kids can make the trajectory of these kids go to different places. So finding a common bond and working together is very important. So we just got to keep those things an example as we continue to grow. Like Rico, like we talked about earlier, there's no book. I didn't get a book about how to be a parent, how to be a dad, how do we transition. It just came with experience, and like Herm said, when he went through his pitfall and came back, right? There's no book to tell you, hey, if you go through this situation, how to be a dad, right? But as we gain the experience, because I taught my daughter that, we only get knowledge from mistakes. Only way we learn is through failure, right? But using this information now that we went through those trials and tribulations, you know, to understand now, this is kind of like the recipe to give to people on how to father, how to parent, you know, through all these little different stories and mistakes to give to our young people. And I think this is powerful. This is the first start of more amazing communication. This is the Black dad experience. We're going to have the mom experience. And then we're going to try to put the mom and the dad on the panel on the conversation to really go further and deeper into this relationship stuff. But Rico, how you felt about that? Your mic is off, Rico. Your mic is off.
Really, really good today, man. I think that there's a lot that we all can learn from each other. I think that there's no one way about nothing because we know our children are all different. I think that the biggest thing that I can take away from today and just take away from being a father is, you know, just being present. You know, just literally being present. I think that sometimes our perception and what we think a father look like is sometimes wrong. You know, because I know when my son was first born, I always had in my head I want to give him everything that I wasn't able to get. And that dealt with like a lot of monetary things, a lot of things that I can give to him tangibly. And I realized I spent all this money on this stuff. And I think the biggest example was when he turned 8 years old or 7. I bought him one of them big old Escalade cars. It was like over $500, man. I took it out the box and stuff, and we have a little party for him. He didn't even play with the card.
Yeah.
He played with the box the whole night. I could have went and got a box for free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like he loved that box. So we ended up turning the box into like a little playhouse, and I cut it out and made doors. So that experience just kind of really taught me like at the end of the day, like our children don't care about none of that them gifts.
No.
They just want to be around us. So
no, you're right.
Like that's my biggest.
I was just listening to something, and it was saying that, you know, parents go out and spend $400-500 on a 1-year-old or 2-year-old clothes, closet full of clothes, and before the kid can even wear all the clothes, the kid done outgrown the clothes. So now you got $200 worth of clothes that your kid can't even wear. And then he said, you know, you can, just like you said, Rico, you can go buy the $500 Cadillac Escalade. And a kid at that age is just happy with a $15 toy and his parent and his father right there, just pushing a car around. Right. You know, and we gotta keep that in perspective, man. And it's like, you know, it's not about the flash, the material stuff. It's just sometimes it's about the simplicity. You know, just the simplicity of something minor, a basketball and a glove, a baseball and a glove. You know, and just being there with your kid one-on-one, you know, to where you can talk to him, play sports with him, whether it's video games or whatever.
Hey, Herm, I think that's powerful. I know we got to get ready to wrap up here. We down to our last 5 minutes, but I think that's powerful, Herm, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because in life, when life happens, financially things is gonna happen, and I think what Rico pressed on about the time is the most important. Because to this day, you know, and this is what being involved in your kid's life and teaching them stuff always sits in the mind, right? And that's why I hope we educate here on both sides of the conversation. You know, we're trying to educate our people instead of, like you said, wasting the $500 on Jeeps and Christmas, making sure that we put 529 accounts up to pay for our kids' college and things of that nature.
Right.
My daughter now is in nursing school. I can go anywhere around the Bay Area with my daughter, and she can remember, hey, Dad, remember we went fishing here? Hey, Dad, remember we went to go do this? Hey, remember this park, right? She never forget that stuff, right, her?
Yeah.
Now she has her kid, and I'm a grandfather. And it's things that we get for my grandbaby Herman. She'll say, well, Dad, when I was a kid, I didn't get one of those. And I said, no, you had one of those, right? But me, intellectually, it made me understand. All the things, all the monetary things and the things that I bought you as gifts, you don't even remember that.
Right.
But the priceless part is when every time we drive by a lake or we drive by a camping site, she remember that.
She remember that.
So my thing to the young fathers out there, to the dads, Rico said, your time is everything. Spend as much time with your kid, educate them, show them as many things you can. Be open to different things, teach them different foods, teach them different cultures, because that experience of the black dad experience with your kid is what your kid is gonna take away from you. And when you said and gone, we at that funeral home and it's over, them kids is gonna get up there and they're not gonna talk about the Jordans you buy. They're not gonna talk about the PlayStation 5s. They're gonna talk about that experience. So make sure your kids is getting that experience. But before we go, I want to get a last word from Herm, a last word from Dirk, a last word from Rico, and then we go close this thing out. Anything you want to give to the people out there, just
I want to say, man, stay safe, practice social distancing. You know, this pandemic is serious. We want to make it to the other side. Enjoy your holidays, but be safe and stay positive and take care of your responsibilities with your children. And I'm Herm, Black Power, and I'm out.
Thanks, Herb. Dirk, go ahead. You got any last words?
Yes, I just want to say this was a great experience for me too and stuff like that. And I with my son and stuff like that, I always tell him, I said, listen, I said, I'm with you every day. I said, if you can't trust your father, I say, the man who brought you to the world, who can you trust, stuff like that? I tell him that all the time. I'm here every day. So remember, trust. I tell him to trust me. So trust the people that's in your life and stuff like that, give you good guidance. Don't listen to your friends. Trust your family, the people that's there every day. That's who you trust. And that's how you get through life. And because they know the way.
Rico, let's go recap this. Rico, you do it pretty good. Let's kind of wrap everything from the start to finish.
Bring it all together.
We want to leave the women of the community with some game. We want to leave our young people with some game. We want it to be heartfelt. And I know you could do it, and I'll try to follow. I can never follow you, but I'm going to try to follow you this time.
So we had an amazing conversation. The conversation and what I heard today is that even though we have a lot going on in our community, we do have some amazing fathers out there. We have some amazing men doing some amazing things that recognize that it's not about the monetary thing. That even though her and him is going through their issues, they're trying to figure out how to navigate through the process so that they can figure out how can they be with their babies. They understand that their presence is the greatest present that they can give their children. So that way, later on in life, no matter what decisions they make, they're going to be able to get back to the foundation that us as fathers have laid down for our children. So next time when we dealing with our women, hopefully they not feeling no type of way, and that they know all this is out of love, and we just trying to create conversation so that way we can better understand each other's experience. We'll be able to talk more about that experience and then bring everybody together. But that's what I heard today, John. And hopefully, everybody can connect it and start understanding that no matter what jewels and no matter what seeds that we give our children, the seeds aren't going to immediately grow. It's only through the cultivation that we give them that the tree will begin to flourish. So day by day, you might be like, dang, you making this mistake or she making that mistake. I promise you the seeds that you have planted eventually will materialize into amazing young people. The village concept, I also heard that, and it takes a village to raise one child. We know that a family makes a tribe makes a nation, and a nation makes a family. A family makes a tribe makes a nation makes a clan. So it's up to all of us to continue on with the nation that we're trying to build with our people. So each one teach one in order to reach one, and that's Rico, both sides of the conversation.
Now that's a hard act to follow. Y'all see what I have to deal with every week? I'm just going to close out with this. You guys heard the testimony from the Black fathers of the community. You heard the stories, the testimonies. I hope the ladies out there understand. Maybe every topic wasn't reached, every question wasn't answered. But what we got out of this is our Black fathers is needed, okay? We need the support of our Black women, our brown women. We have to find a way to communicate. In order to heal, we talk about this all the time at both sides of the conversation. We have to start the communication process to begin the healing process. We have to stay open-minded when it comes to the decision-making of our child and our children. We have to have open dialogue. As Rico said, it takes a community of people to bring out the greatness of these young people that's coming up. We are in stringent times. All the experiences, all the wisdom, and all the information is needed for our community. When it comes to the offsprings, when it comes off to breaking off the relationships, when it comes to the disappointments, how do we emotionally, men and women, keep ourselves intact? That we not only think about ourselves and stay out of the selfish state of I'm done with this person or this person did to me in a relationship, but how can we, as we no longer together, move forward, still give our kids a great experience of life and both parents with love, with respect? You know, how do we get to a place of where we could just, even though it didn't work out for us, that we can still keep it respectful and not say you just like your daddy or you just like your mama or your daddy ain't nothing and your mama ain't nothing. Keep the level of respect, keep the level of engagement so that our kids feel loved and embraced by both sides, even when things don't work. I think that's important. As our single parents continue, our single fathers do the things that they need as a community, how do we support them? How do we push for policy? How do we push for our nonprofits? How do we push for our community and city leaders to make sure that our single fathers are getting the adequate support that we give to our women? And for the fathers that's co-parenting, are the fathers that's married and parenting. How do we keep the love united? Make sure that the respect and the understanding of the roles stay intact so that our kids understand and they know how to maneuver. I think that's what it comes down to. As Rico said, we will have a conversation with you ladies. Your time is coming. The single mom experience, the co-parenting mom experience, the married mom experience is coming. And then we go filter that with a combination of the fathers and the mothers of the community so we could really come out with a plan of action, how to heal. How do we use these tools to help educate our community and make relationships and parenting the best model for our young people coming up? I think that's where we're going to go with this. I want to thank all of the brothers for coming on today. I know we had some brothers who reached out to me. Some things came up, can't get on. It's okay because we're going to keep these conversations going here at both sides of the conversation. So thank you to all the fathers who came on today. I know it's football Sunday. We always sacrificing different things. I just thank God for these brothers. Keep your blessings and prayers out for them because being a father, the Black experience is a challenge. It's a lot of up and down roller coasters in this. And we need the prayers and we need the love and the support from the community. So keep all of our single dads and our dads in the community and they spirits prayed up, man, because we need that, especially from our women. And before we end, upcoming on both sides of the conversation, this Tuesday, we will continue our hidden gem segment at 7 p.m. this Tuesday. We will be highlighting the hidden gems in our community, these community leaders, these community activists, these community organizers, these community people that's doing amazing things. And we also will be highlighting our business people that's going to be on. You know, one thing here, we want to continue to promote Black and brown businesses. So the opportunity is out there for you. Don't say there's not an opportunity. If you're a small business owner getting started, we don't care how big your business is. You could come on here and promote your business. We got an audience. We got a following. We steady growing. People seeing. We want our people to patronize your business. So reach out to us at both sides of the conversation at Gmail. This Thursday, for all you people that's in the entertainment business, if you're a rapper, if you're an artist, we got a lawyer coming on this Thursday for our Educational Thursday. She is an entertainment lawyer. She's going to come on here and talk about businesses, how to set it up. When you're a rapper, contracts, trademark, copyrights. We giving you free information. Everybody in the Bay, y'all know it's talent out here. Everybody want to be a rapper, right? But to do it, it's a step. It's steps, it's foundation, it's a process. So this sister is coming on to educate the community why it's important to be on here, to talk about trademark businesses, all you artists out here. She's an entertainment lawyer. You know, get your contract right. Make sure your royalties is right. Make sure your copyrights is right. Make sure all your information is right. So that's going to be a good network of information for y'all this Thursday. And then this Sunday, our next Sunday conversation will be with San Francisco District Supervisor of District Number 6, Matt Haney. This should be a great conversation next Sunday. We're going to talk to him about the things that's going on in San Francisco and his district, some of the things that he has going on moving forward. Should be a really engaged conversation. So if you live in District 6 or you live in San Francisco and you want to know what's going on this Sunday, should be a great conversation. And then we're going to follow that up with this Tuesday on the 15th, our next Hidden Gem segment after that. We will be reaching out and we will be having the mayor of San Francisco on and she's gonna be talking about some amazing things that she has going on. And we'll have Director Cheryl Davis of the Human Rights Commission on. It'll be a nice short hour, but it'll be powerful, it'll be impactful, it'll be intentional. And we got some amazing more stuff coming up in the future. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to Both Sides of the Conversation today. This was an amazing conversation. We was talking about our Black dad experience, Black and brown dad experience. Our Latin dads didn't come in today, but we'll get them out there. Just keep you guys heads up. Keep your prayers for all of the men in the community, all the women in the community. Pray for our young people as we continue to build this unity thing that we talk about here, this radical unity on both sides of the conversation. So with that being said, we love you guys. Hopefully we see you at our next segment on Tuesday, and we'll keep this thing rolling, man. And thank you to all the dads out there. Keep doing what you do and stay there. We out.